I go extra every day, I got extras on the way. How much? Extra, extra. How much? Extra, extra.
Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Hustle Project. I'm Matt Dingus, a local investor and real estate agent. Today I have with me a local real estate investor, flipper, developer, and mentor, Bradley Jacobs. What's going on, Bradley?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll dive into some different things today, but first off, I want to start off with just like your story. Tell me about like the area you grew up in, what that was like growing up.
Starting out, I moved a lot growing up. I probably went to, I think it was like 3 or 4 different elementary schools. I grew up in Allentown, Knoxville, Belsuber, Oliver, and then we finally settled in Carrick for a while. It was pretty rough. I kind of got tied in with, I wouldn't say the best group of kids. I was a class clown, knucklehead, so you kind of get involved with who you get involved with whenever you're like that. I didn't have a lot of structure at home either, so I didn't really have nobody saying like, hey, don't hang out with those kids, or hey, don't do this stuff, things like that. So shortly after, I'm in like 2nd grade running the streets. I'm out until, the street lights are on. I'm still out there running, just doing whatever, causing havoc, honestly. So, whenever you run the streets, kind of get tied into different things. Mine was, I've always had a mindset of I wanted freedom. And that kind of, I seen a kid who we were growing up with, he was hustling and he had a lot of money. And I seen the freedom he had. He wasn't much older than me at that time. And again, I'm in 2nd grade, so I kind of made the decision like, I think this is the route I'm going to go, because again, I don't have that mentor or, a role model to show me like this is how you get out, or this is the way you make it legally or the right way, So I seen that avenue and I took it. I did that, and
How old did you say you were at that point?
I was in 2nd grade.
Okay, so 2nd grade, you kind of had this different mentality than probably like the rest of the people around you, right? The rest of the kids around you.
For sure, yeah. I've always, like I said, I've always wanted the freedom, but I've also always learned like what not to do from certain people. You know what I mean? So I've always seen things that a lot of people in my family did, and I was like, that's what I don't want to do, or this is who I don't want to be, things like that, you know what I mean? We talked a little bit about it with my pap. He was a role model for me, but he still was a knucklehead when he was a kid or, growing up. And he was still, they were poor as hell. I would beg to go over to my grandparents' house. And, literally I would have to pack a bag of oodles and noodles to go over there because they didn't have no food. You know what I mean? So, but he was my role model. He taught me resilience. The dude had so much wisdom. If I was ever going through anything, he had some wisdom for it. So, like, he passed away a couple years ago, but till that day, even on his deathbed, dude had wisdom for me. It was crazy as hell.
So he was like the main mentor for you when you were younger to kind of help you pull out everything.
For sure, yeah. So like my mom and dad, they worked a ton just to try to, keep lights on and stuff like that. And sometimes that wasn't, we ran the center, knocking on the door, taking our furniture back. But like, it was what it was, So anyways, I wanted to kind of help them. I seen that they needed help and they were always helping people. That was one thing I always got from my parents. They would help people even if they couldn't help themselves. But what I learned from the streets was, how can I help you if I can't help myself?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I kind of seen what they were doing, and I took that because I wanted to help people. But I also took it as they're helping people when they can't help themselves, and they're still in this situation. So I kind of took it as like, you have to better yourself, put yourself in a better situation so that you can go back and help people.
Yeah.
Because if we're both screwed up, what good is that doing either of us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you got like you figured out how to service people and take care of people from your parents.
Yeah. Like
if you're in a poor spot financially or your well-being or even like your health and everything, like you can't take care. You got to take care of yourself before you take care of other people. Yeah.
And some people take that as like selfishness, but it's not being selfish at all. Because again, like, how can I help you? Like, I'm physically doing this to be a little better so that I can help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just need to be in a better situation. I don't want to get too far off of topic, but so back in 2nd grade, I got the wisdom from my pap, and I kind of took a little bit of what I was learning from mom and dad and my pap as like, I'm doing this so that I could get here. Like I was always trying to think ahead. You know what I mean? Like, I always try to pre-plan. That's something in my mind.
Like future thinking, like you're planning down the road. Yeah. They always think about where you're going to be at.
Yeah, like I just always felt different too, though. I had 5 brothers.
Yeah.
And my entire life I felt different than all of them.
Yeah.
Like thought different, acted different. I was in second grade hanging out with sixth, seventh, eighth graders. You know what I mean? Like I was just always was way more advanced hanging out with older people. Even to this day, like a lot of my friends are in their 40s and I just turned 30, you know? Like some even 50. It's crazy, but it is what it is, you know? I kind of made that decision, lived that life, but I learned all those lessons. So as far as the lesson I told you, like you got to help yourself before you can help anybody else.
They always use like that, the comparison to like when you're on an airplane and like everybody's going down, you got to put the breathing machine on yours first.
If I can't breathe and I pass out, how am I going to put yours on if you can't do it?
That's huge, What was the influence like from the people like around you when you were young? Like, so you have your path that like kind of helped you, but what about like your friends around you, maybe even some of your brothers or something? Like, what was that influence like? Because you already had this like mindset that you wanted more and you felt different and everything, but did they still have an influence over you at that point, or did you were you able to push that away?
No.
Negative influences.
Yeah. So again, I learned from what I don't want to be, or who I don't want to be, and what I don't want to do. That's how I've always learned. I was never one to be peer pressured into anything. I've always taken all of my consequences and actions, and I've dealt with them because I've known if I do this, this is the consequence that can happen. Mm-hmm. And if it happens, then I sit down in jail or wherever I got to do, and I'm like, okay, this is your fault. I take accountability for it. So, did they have an impact on me? Yes. 100%, because again, I'm learning like, okay, this is what I don't want to do. This is what I don't want to be, or whatever it is.
You turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah. The only difference was it was like growing up, I was very active. I wasn't like proactive. I was just active. I was just doing things. I wasn't, like I said, I always thought, but I was thinking the wrong way. I didn't notice different opportunities. I was taking the opportunities that I knew and doing things with them, like I said, as far as the streets and stuff like that. But this is the opportunity I thought I had.
Yeah. So you have a kid, maybe somebody that's in an environment like that. What do you tell them? Like they're in second grade or whatever. What do you tell them to help them switch their mindset? Maybe they're stuck. They're having bad influences around them. Like, what do you tell them to pull themselves out of that?
Yeah, see, so everybody, like, I actually talked to a couple politicians about this because I have a nonprofit that I'm starting and I want to bring financial literacy to schools. But what I was talking to them about is like, this stuff starts at home. It doesn't start just in the school. It starts at home and then it leads into the schools and then it ended up leading after that, because guess what? I go home and it's just me. I go to school, this is where I'm meeting up with my friends at. Most of the time we're acting a fool in school, getting suspended, being put into detention together, all these different things. But when we leave school, we might be walking home together. Something totally stupid.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, at all. But you're just young and dumb and you're just doing stupid stuff. So like, what would I tell them? Man, it's hard. The biggest thing is just knowing there's another way. It's knowing there's another way and to separate yourself from those friends. I just know that it's harder. It's easier said than done, I should say. It's harder for them to actually separate themselves, because even my friends too, like we would play sports all day.
Yeah.
But when we were done playing sports and the rec center closed, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and if they don't have the structure at home, it's really hard to deter from them. But just pretty much just know that there's another way.
Right. Yeah, because if you have that exposure to different things and different avenues, flick a light on their head, like, oh, I can go this route, like you kind of saw, that'll kind of carry you somewhere else.
The biggest thing is to create more, I don't want to say like after school programs, even after school programs, but more like nonprofits that can help gather kids who don't have that structure and show them the way.
Yeah.
Because the more they see it, I could tell them all day till I'm blue in the face, but until they physically see it. So, you get this nonprofit and you start, there's Still Rocks, Still City Impact.
Okay.
My buddy Emery, Mike Reynolds, they have the Still City Impact, and they do that over in Stowe Rocks with the kids. They'll take them to do stuff. A lot of these kids now have like 4.0 GPA averages when like they were, when like they were bad kids in the beginning, but they're not bad kids. They don't have structure.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like, would you say that it's not just the education? It's more like, I know you're like big on the community. You think it's more community based too, where you're getting like them into groups. That's what's really going to have the impact, right?
100%. Yeah, and that's why, I don't know, you'll see a lot of times people say it takes a village to raise a child, and it truly does. Like, it takes the people in the community. I remember, we'll see a little kid throw a rock. I'm like, come here, little badass. Like, why are you, doing? We try to talk sense into something though. But if I was doing it back in the day, I throw a rock or something, I'm immediately in trouble for it. You deserve to get in trouble, but you also be somebody to tell you why you shouldn't do it instead of just don't do that.
Yeah, you got to give them some type of lesson too.
Yeah. It's the why most of the time. It's not just don't do it.
Right. Yeah. What is something that you kind of learned from your childhood and like what you saw that helps you like how you carry yourself today differently than maybe somebody else if they had a different background would?
As I grew up, I was always in survival mode. And I think that helps me today because even in business, you're in survival mode a lot of the time. I mean, right now, last couple months I was in survival mode. Properties all above 300,000 that weren't selling. I mean, like literally, I just lost probably close to like 200 grand. It's crazy between all these properties. None of my investors lost money. None of the lenders lost money. Nobody lost money but me, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that, and that's good news to me. You know what I mean? The last thing I want is an investor to lose capital. But the market turned and did what it did, and these properties sat. But I was able to be resilient. I was able to kind of get back into attack mode and kind of oversee those, and then readjust my investment strategy to kind of keep moving forward. You have to readjust and attack.
So what your kind of upbringing, your childhood taught you that you carried with you is like more so just resilience, being like when something happens, it brings you down to your knees, you're able to pick yourself up and keep moving, right?
To be honest, like if I'm super comfortable, I start getting lazy. I don't like it. I need to be in a corner. I need my back against the wall. That's when I really worked the best because of growing up in the streets. Growing up how I grew up, it was another thing my parents taught me was like never take a handout. Never take a handout. Work hard for everything you have and really stay focused. You know what I mean? Like my dad, he preached it, but he never did it. It was like you put your mind to it. You can be who you want to be. You can do whatever you want. And he would always tell me that, and I would take that. But like then watching him not do it, it was mind blowing to me. But I kind of take it to this. It was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. This is happening right now, though. So what do? I got to sit back. I got to readjust, and I have to go back at it.
Yeah.
I have to go back at it because, like, some people are like, man, how do you do this? Or what do you do? Like, you got some balls to do this. Like, and I'm like, dude, I've been broke my whole life. Like, I've been broke my entire life. So as long as I'm not taking no one down with me, the only person I'm taking down is myself. Yeah. I'm okay with going down and starting back up because the knowledge, you never lose it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Is that kind of uncomfortable, like, moments you have or, like, the risky moments, is that kind of what drives you a lot? Like keeps the fire under your ass? Yeah.
For sure. And I got kids now, too. So, like, financial freedom and, generational wealth. Like, knowing that I have kids now is like, all right, come on. We got to go. Yeah. We got things to do.
It has a whole other element to it, right? For sure. Yeah. I always wonder, like, I have a similar background to you, not probably as rough. I grew up in Mount Washington, like in the city and everything. And like, we didn't have a lot of money, things like that. So I get all that on some level, you know what I mean? So that has always been a driving force for me. I know what it's like for my parents not to have a lot of money and, be on WIC and live, in some shitty apartment somewhere. So I get all that. I always wonder, like, if you're in a kid in a situation where you have everything you want, or you're a teenager, you have everything you want, like, what gets you up in the morning to, like, go and attack and fight and accomplish things?
Yeah, I've been around people like that too, and they'll out hustle somebody else. But like when it comes to that, though, I think it's more of you have it or you don't. Because some people, and that's one thing I don't want my kids to be like that. No matter what, I need them to be hustlers. I'm tough love on my kids like crazy, but it's because I want them to. I might buy you stuff, but you're still gonna earn it. Yeah. But like I either think when it comes to that, I think it's like either you have it or you don't. So that mindset comes like you said, you have everything. You mentally just have it to the drive. You just mentally, physically have that drive in you. It's inside you. You were born with it.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
So it's probably they're probably not like in a state of survival like you were talking about, but they're more in a place like I want more. I want to accomplish things. Like more just driven.
100%. Yeah. Or maybe they want to prove something to their parents.
Yeah. There's always some different why. Yeah. For your kids, like. So you mentioned like you would buy them whatever, but you want them to work for it. How are you like instilling that into them because I know they're still really young, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like how are you planning to instill that in them to have that hunger and that drive when you're going to be able to provide to them more than you had? You know what I mean?
It's hard. It's definitely hard. So I've been teaching my daughter now. She's in school and she's learning. Now she's counting and stuff like that in school. So I bought her the Rich Dad, Poor Dad cash flow for kids game. Yeah, so I bought her that game, and it teaches financial literacy and how to put a P&L together and stuff like that, which is crazy as hell because I didn't even know what that was until a couple of years ago. Meg asked me for it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what is that? I actually had to have one of my friends put it together for me. So, but it teaches that. So I'm starting by teaching her how to what is money and things like that, and then I take them past job sites every time I get a chance. So she's in school, so she gets off school, or maybe we'll go down to Dave and Buster's or something after that. Guess what? We got to drive past 10 of Daddy's properties. And we're going to drive past all 10. We're going to take the long way home today just so you can see. And if there's construction going on, I'll take them in. I've been taking my son past. I got a picture of me changing my son's diaper on two horses with 2x6s laying across.
That's going in the game room.
Yeah, yep. He was like one or 2 months old. I have him laying across the horse to change his diaper. So yeah, I take them past properties, and then on top of that too is like, if you want this, you got to earn it. So I'm going to buy it for you. What are you going to do to deserve it? What makes you just deserve this? You got to be a good kid. You got to do chores. We're starting to work on chores and stuff like that. You just got to earn your keep. Pretty much, you got to earn your keep.
Right. Yeah, I've done that. Like, I don't have kids yet, but I have little brothers, and I want them to show them things that we do, right, with real estate specifically. And I've taken them to properties and everything, and I want them to be interested, at least to show them the game. It's like, are you kids asking you questions about it or anything?
Yeah, my daughter's starting to ask me more.
That's the best feeling, probably, right?
Yeah, it is. She's definitely starting to ask me more. All she knows now, what she did know was that, and at first she used to be, not the happiest about it, but now she knows there's other kids out there who are less fortunate and things like that. So I think just bringing her around that stuff too, kind of
exposing her to that.
Yeah, look, we could be in a way worse situation. Take advantage of this. You know what I mean? It's not like this for everybody.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just jumping back to you're kind of growing up and your come up, whatever you want to call it. What was there a big turning point for you in your whenever you before you got into real estate, before you started to grow your career? What did that turning point look like?
Yeah, so like I said, I was in the streets, and I did that my entire life. I literally made a career out of it. For 15 years or something, 10, 15 years I was in the streets. Yeah. And I would always try to get out. And for some reason, when times got hard, I always got drugged back into it because it was the quickest, easiest way that I'm going to make money. It was instilled in my head. But I always wanted to go a different route. So in 2017, I hit a really rough patch in life. I was getting drunk. I was on the south side.
How old were you at that time?
Early 20s.
Early 20s. Maybe
23, maybe 24 or something.
Steel strings.
So I was just down there acting a fool, and I'm a knucklehead, so I'm not fighting, drunk, beating people up. It was bad. In 2017, though, I ended up going to jail at least once a month for all 12 months of 2017. Every single month, I ended up going to jail. So I spent a lot of time down there, and I ended up, hitting a crazy rough patch where I had a property down there that I lived in, and I had a decent job at that time. I was towing cars, but I was still hustling.
Wait, you were in real estate at this time, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was renting.
Okay, you're renting. Okay, gotcha.
But I was renting a property down there. It was my first time on my own, and I was still in the streets, but I had a good job too. I was towing cars, and I ended up pretty much losing everything. Pretty much getting drunk and ended up going to jail, spending a lot of money on stuff like that. So I ended up getting kicked out of the house. We ended up getting kicked out of the house, and I had nowhere to go, so I ended up having to move back to my parents. And when I seen the condition of the house my parents lived in, I didn't visit my parents. It was my first time on my own, and like I said, the whole time I was trying to get out. So I didn't really keep in touch with them. I didn't go visit, nothing like that. So I didn't even know where they lived at until I didn't have a place to go.
You had to go there.
I had to go. I had nowhere else to go. So I stayed in the hotel for a month or something like that until I literally didn't have $1 on my name anymore.
Yeah.
So I went and stayed with them, and I seen the condition of the house. I was like, holy, this is crazy. No joke, the house should have been condemned. Mm-hmm. I just tried buying it last week. They're like, no, we're 2017 that happened, went to jail, ended up hitting a super rough spot, went back to where their house was, seen how bad this condition was. And it was a 2-bedroom house. I got 5 brothers. All my brothers stayed with my parents. My oldest brother sleeping on the couch. The other 2 brothers shared a room upstairs. The other one was in placement in boot camp. So I either had the option to sleep on the exposed floor, which is not hardwood, it's the exposed subfloor with dog hair, dirt. It was just disgusting.
Yeah.
I didn't have a blanket to lay on it. So it was either just sleep on this floor or sleep at this kitchen table. And I slept at the kitchen table. No joke. 4x4 round table.
Just on top of it.
No, like head down like you're in school.
Like you're in school,
yes,
yeah.
Back hurt, like I still got back problems from it. But I swear to God, I slept there for 2 months, I think it was, about 2 months. But about, I don't know, 3 days in, I'm like, yo, what the hell? You just had all this money. You were just doing all this stuff. You had your own place. Like,
you were kind of feeling good. You felt like you were...
Yeah. I finally on my own and stuff. And then, like I said, a bunch of stuff started happening. I'm like, man, what the hell went wrong in your life? Yeah. And that's what, I didn't even realize I went to jail that much. I didn't even realize what was happening prior to everything just unfolding. But I actually had a time to reflect finally. And I just reflected on that. And then why I even started hustling, why I even started going down the journey I was going down. And the whole reason in second grade when I decided to start hustling was because I knew one day I wanted to own a business. I wanted to make enough money to do something so that I could get out. Literally, you get lost.
You had this like realization point at that like kitchen table, basically.
Bro, yeah, I had no choice. Like, I'm waking up like every 2 hours because I'm cold. I'm inside my shirt trying to sleep. Like, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a crazy comeback moment though. Like, where it kind of brought you back. You're like sitting there and like, what am I doing right now? And like, where did you?
So I'm sitting at this table. I might as well. Yeah. So you recommended Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read it. Man, I tell you, as those pages turn, I'm like, damn, that's what my dad said. Yeah. Oh man, that's what my dad said. Okay. Oh man, this is okay. And as the pages turned, it just clicked. Yeah, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And then I got a job with my dad doing concrete. So I'd wake up, I'd go to work with my dad, get back in the car. On the way home, after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, just happened to hear on the radio a 3-day seminar for, it was a 1-day free seminar for Than Merrill. Than Merrill was having it, which is, he was like a big wholesaler or whatever at the time. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm going to go. And man, I'm super introverted. I didn't want to go, but I'm down to William Penn by myself, super sketched out. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm just down there like, whatever, listen to what they said about real estate. And real estate always was close to me because of the construction. It just always fit. So anyways, I went down there and they were talking about it and they were like, all right, well, if you leave today, it's like $1,000 or something like that. If you buy it now, I can't remember at that time. It was like $300 or $500 or something. Yeah. And I just got paid. And I'm like, yeah, like, what am I going to do? Again, I'm at a kitchen table sleeping right now. What are my choices?
You can risk it all.
Yeah, like, what are my choices? I bought the 3-day seminar and you could bring a friend with you. I ended up bringing my buddy with me. To this day, he still hasn't bought a piece of real estate. And he asked me every day, like, how are you going to start? Like, bro, I need you to help me.
Is this the friend that recommended the book to you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now, this friend is actually, he's my electrician.
Okay.
But I bring him with me, and I'm like, all right, cool. So after the 3 days, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I get started. I wholesale. I don't have no money. So I went back, and I'm at the table, and I'm just grinding out. Yeah. It took me 6 months to a year to find a house. Now, so after about 3 months of working, I was able to save up enough money to then go move into a hotel.
Oh, okay.
I moved into a hotel so I could finally get some sleep. I lived in that hotel for about a month. And by the grace of God, me and my friend, we had this girl come up to us. She's like, hey, and it was like $500 a month or something like that for a 2-bedroom and a low key, bro, in a cut, but a decent neighborhood. I'm like, this is just what I need. Bro, it was a nice little apartment for us, bro. I lived there for probably 4 or 5 years, grinding it. I would have never moved. I ended up actually moving next door after I got with my girl when we had our kid. I ended up moving next door because it was a side-by-side duplex. I lived in that half for like another 2 years. I would have never bought my house if it wasn't for her making me. Yeah. If she didn't make me buy this house, I would still been living there, grinding it out. Like, I just grinded it out. So went to the hotel, then went to the duplex, and I just hammered it out. So about 6 months into living at that duplex, I ended up finding one property. And I found it in McKeesport. And I got it under contract, and it didn't sell. And I'm like, but this is possible. Like, it happened. I got it. And so it showed me it was real.
You at least took a step.
Yes.
You were like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm really doing it.
Yep.
It didn't come
to fruition. Yeah. But it was like, hey, it showed me that it was possible, though. Like, what he was talking wasn't just fluff. Yeah. He was like, dude, you actually can do this.
Right.
It just, I didn't realize what McKeesport was at the time. You know what I mean? So once I figured it out, I was like, okay, just don't get them. But it is possible. So start targeting other areas. You know
See, you're kind of one of the type of people then that you don't have analysis paralysis. You're just go, right?
I'm go.
Yeah, there's no like, what's this area? It's wholesaling. Oh, this is how you do it. I'm going.
So like, what I see, and but like I don't know, like I'll do what some people will do, like some people, a lot of people are smarter than me, so much smarter than me. Like just the way you set this up with the tech. I told you, like, bro, I'm so serious.
Yeah.
But I will spend 10 hours on that computer learning how to do that just so I could do it if I needed to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like when I got into real estate and I started actually buying and knowing, the more I started studying, I'm an educational buff now since I realized, like, again, back at the table, the biggest, most valuable thing that I learned was when I got started and I had the money and I didn't do what I did. The reason I got lost is because I never had the education. I didn't have the knowledge to even know how to buy a business, how to start a business. None
it's
of
that
that
exposure that, like, that we keep talking about it. And it's like just, I mean, rich dad, poor dad. Some people that are in real estate probably get sick of hearing that, but like that moment for people is so profound. It's across, like, the same thing happened to me. Same exact thing. Somebody recommended the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, read it, blew my damn mind. I'm running home, showing my mom, like, your house it's not an asset. You know what I mean? And like, it's such a, was that shift for you? Like when you read that book and you started, was it like instantaneous? Like was your mindset the day before you read that book? Like, versus it just
total different.
And then you probably never stopped after that.
The next one was the 4 quadrants.
Yeah, that's
I read that, and that. But see, that one also taught me, like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. This is where I'm going. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how do we do it?
Yeah.
How do you come up with a plan for that?
And that, like, so for real estate, you never really had like an interest in real estate specifically, right? Before this, or you did?
I did.
Okay.
So again, a lot of things led me to, and I like start realizing this stuff more and more as I go, and as like my memory kind of unfolds, because I think about this shit every day. Mm-hmm. I'm so in the moment that, like, and I wasn't for a long time until like somebody's like, dude, look at where you came from, and I finally literally sat in the middle of my house on the floor, and I just looked around like, you're right. Like, and just thinking about where I came from, like,
it's hard to do that.
It is.
It really is hard to like reflect back on like where you came from. I need to do it more myself. Yeah. Similar to you, like I had troubles in my 20s, and like I was in a shit place. I had no like self-worth or no purpose, things like that. And same thing, read the book, never stopped from there. It's a super similar story to how that was. And I need to do that more. Like, remember where you were when you were 25 and where you're at now. It's a world of difference. And people look at you different too. 100%. Like, you probably feel that, right?
I do. I get it all the time. Yeah. I get it all the time. So like, you have to reflect. I always try to tell people, like, try to reflect at least once a year. At least once a year. And if you can do it every couple months, that's even better. But like, reflect on, like, not only like where did you come from, or where are you, but where and is that changing? Because goals change. You create your 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year goal, but you always got to revisit those, because sometimes they change. Like, I for the longest was like, okay, buying multi, but then it shifted again. Now it's develop, and it's not only just because like my mindset changed. It was more so the opportunity that kept presenting itself to me changed.
Yeah.
And I, like, for the longest was like, nah, I don't want it. I want to do it this way. But the best way for me is not the best way for you. The opportunities that present themselves to me aren't always the opportunities that present themselves to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you might have more investors or more people who are in the industry that may be willing to partner with you than I do. But I may have people in the development industry or land deals and stuff like that. I may have the knowledge to do it. So it's like, okay, I'll just go that route. You know what I mean? Like, I have a mentor who's a billion-dollar developer, multi-billion-dollar developer. And I still was like, no, I don't want to. No, I'd rather just go buy. I can't find a mentor who has a ton of units who just wants to help me out like that. You know what I mean? Like, so why am I not embracing this opportunity? So now I'm like, embrace it.
Yeah, you have to. That opportunity's in front of you. You have to take advantage of it rather than push it away. It's there for a reason. I mean, there are some things that come in life where, maybe it's like a shiny object thing.
Yeah.
But when it feels right and 100%. Like you trust the people and everything, you got to take it.
And it's still going to give me the same end goal. Yeah. I'm still going to get my 15,000 units I want. Yeah. It's just going to be by building them rather than buying them.
Yeah.
Or it could be by both. Maybe I start building them, build more liquidity and things as such, and then just go start buying them too. You do both.
Right.
You do both.
And however you get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you have to revisit that, and you have to be open-minded to it too. Some people are just so stuck on one-minded things. And it's not how the world works.
Have an open mind.
Yeah, you got to.
For mentors, like you mentioned that you've had a few, like, how important has that been to you, and like what type of impact has just having mentorships been for you?
Very, very. People use the word mentor super.
Yeah.
Just call everybody a mentor, which I used to be like it's not though, because once I started looking at it, like, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of people who I look at who are like mentors. You know, they're in a better position than me. They're somewhere where I want to go. That's the biggest thing, is like somebody calling someone a mentor. They're doing the same thing you are. How the hell is that your mentor? You know what I mean? Like, they're not even, one, they're not where you want to go, and two, they're not even in a better position. Like, how is that a mentor? You
That's
know what
just,
I mean?
yeah, that's just a peer.
Yeah, literally. So I just think some people kind of put themselves out. So I have a lot of people who I know that are in better positions than me, and I could call them, I could talk to them. I look at them as mentors for sure. But how it has helped me is tremendously. I wouldn't have done half of what I've done if it wasn't for mentors.
Yeah. What makes a good mentor for you?
Someone who's going to keep it straight with you. Someone who's going to tell you how it is. Someone who can answer hard questions. Yeah, someone who can answer those hard questions, or give you insight that you can't just find on the internet. The internet's wide, and especially with ChatGPT now, but like, even those answers a lot of times are cliche, and it's not always as straightforward as it seems. Just back to like how you said, what would you say? It's not always that straightforward. So if you have a mentor who can kind of break that down to you and give you the insight,
right,
that's it.
Yeah, I think that's personally, like, that's something I need to do better at. Sometimes I think I just want to do everything myself. I'll use the internet, I'll use podcasts, which helps for sure. It bulks everything it does, but I feel like having personal connections with people that are in a position where you want to go is super important. And I haven't done a great job of that. Like, I think I need to buckle down and think about that. What do you think, like, when you've found mentors or you've connected with them, the personal ones in your life, like, how have you obtained those, or like, how have you met them, or has there been like a mistake that you would say, like a big mistake in trying to find mentors, or is it?
Never a mistake trying to find them, but you usually find them when you're not even looking for them. Yeah. And so, like, how I found most of mine were, the biggest one, the developer I told you, was from going down to another mentoring event.
So this mentorship that you have now, you said you're paying for it?
Yeah, well, I did. It was that was like 2 years ago. It was like 1 year mentorship. It was $25,000. But yeah, I paid for it for 1 year, and then after I was like, but I ended up meeting this guy, and I met a bunch of other dudes who are, I would consider them mentors. You know, I would definitely consider them mentors too. But I can call them, hey, I got this deal. I need a lender for this, or I need an insurance broker for this, or hey, I got this deal. I'm underwriting it to this. What are you thinking? You're in the market every single day. You have 1,000 units. What kind of insight can you give me based on the management experience that you have, or from the operator experience you have? What insight can you give me on XYZ?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think you have no hesitation on reaching out to them and asking questions. Where, like, I think sometimes I do. Right. I don't want to bother people. Like, I know I've texted you for stuff, like, maybe a few times. I've probably sat there and thought about it like 10 minutes. Like, man, I don't want to bother him and ask him this question. He's busy. Yeah, but
don't give me your number. You won't be bothered. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna figure it out anyways. But I'm at least gonna ask you.
Right.
Again, one thing from the streets I learned: closed mouths don't get fed.
That's
I tell
right.
my kids that all the time.
Yeah.
Closed mouths don't get fed. I had this candy bar I was eating. You didn't ask me. It's gone. You're not getting it now. You ask me when it's gone. It's too late.
So that's definitely something you would recommend to somebody if they're getting into the game, or even anything really, any type of entrepreneurship or whatever they want to get into. You know, reach out to people, ask for help. Most people are willing to help too. When you actually grow the balls to ask them, they're gonna help you out.
Dude, that was one of the craziest things I learned. Is like, I'm going to some of these events, and I mean rich ass dudes, and like the help they would give you is just insane. And you come back here, you talk to some fucking bozo who got a couple hundred units, and they're stuck up as hell. You're like, you're like, all right, you're not even all that. Like, so it's, most people actually want to help though. So yeah, I definitely would reach out. But a lot of the mentors I got are literally from here. Going to how you were asking about the local networking. Yeah, I'll go to them, and then I talk to them, and then I always try to. The thing is too, like, again, I learned this from the streets. You don't want to take too many withdrawals without giving a deposit.
I was going to ask that. Yeah. What is making them want to help you?
Yeah, like one of mine, for instance. One of my mentors is he's also a lender. Not only does he own a bunch of properties, he's also a lender. So like, even if I just get a loan through him, his rate might be a little higher than some of the other rates I could get from some of the private money I have. Yeah,
you don't care about that.
No,
pennies to
exactly. Or if, hey, what do you need? Do you need, a contractor? You do this? I have stuff to offer too. I got distributors. I have all types of stuff. From like just being in construction for a long time, and I've always operated my own construction company from having that knowledge, and that's what helped me in real estate a lot too, was having a construction company and only handling myself. But what do you need though? Like, you need to go do something for you real quick. Like, we'll go bang that out for you at cost. I don't even need no. Just cause it's like you help me out enough, I'll help you out.
Yeah, so it's not like you're going out there like, hey, I need help on this, I need help with this.
Yeah.
Like you're giving as much as you possibly can as well.
Yep.
It's like, how do you give to somebody like these people that you're like rubbing elbows with? Like, how do you give to them?
Right. They need something.
Yeah.
Everybody needs something. And I told you, my parents told me never to take a handout. So I've never once asked for something without offering first. And I think a lot of them like that, enjoy it. But usually they don't want it. But if they wanted it, I'll give it to you. Like, what do you want? You want paid for it? I know, because I know too, like, time is important. Like, I don't want to just take your time. But like you said, most people will help you. Yeah, I usually offer whatever you want. Time, do you want money? Do you want a service? Like, what do you need?
Even if they help you, it's like, even just ending on that. How can I help you out? Is there anything you need help with? Give me a call.
Yeah, but once you and that's just starting out. Once you build like a friendship, it is what it is. It's like you can literally call me any single. You're not gonna offer me nothing. Just call me. Like, we're cool now. Like, when we first met, you're like, oh man, how could we might have said something, whatever. Or I was just like, just take my number.
But you were definitely easy to, and actually that leads me to my next question. Like, so from where you grew up to where you're obviously in a different environment now, right? Than how have you like learned to talk to people and work with people differently? I know you like that Dale Carnegie book, the Winning Friends. Yeah,
changed my whole perspective.
So like, what has that shift been just from talking and communicating people? Because you got to be at a professional level now. I mean, you can be yourself, obviously, but it's I'm sure it's way different.
Yeah, so I try to watch how I speak. But dude, I'm just me. I don't know, like, but see, a lot of people like that. I talk how I talk, but I do try to. Like, I learned a lot of bigger words. Some that I never even heard of. Just from being in these conversations, I started hearing it and like how it was used. I'm like, I just find myself using it without even thinking about it. So like that changes. But the How to Win Friends and Influence People book changed me because it taught me that it's never really about you. It's always about the other person. Everyone is into themselves. Everybody's birthday, their name, things like that.
Self-centered.
Yeah, everybody has that thing about themselves. So it's like, if you really truly want to get something out of somebody, like it's not about what's best benefiting you. You know what I mean? Like, what's benefiting them into helping you. You know? So all the using the word I all the time. Bro, it'll literally be just me. I'll buy a house by myself. I'll run the project by myself. I'm like, yeah, we have this deal going on. I just use the word we all the time.
It's like me and my company.
Yeah, like, so instead of, I'll literally go to text somebody and I'll see the word I, and it's just so built in my mind not to use the word I. Yeah. So I just backspace put we. I'd rather use the word we than I, just because it's always more about other people, and it's not to not be self-centered. Don't be so self-centered.
Yeah, I remember just when I first reached out to you to do that meetup. I used to run their meetup group in a big local event in Pittsburgh just for real estate. And I remember when I reached out to you to speak, and you came and spoke. And I don't know how long ago it was after that, but I remember New Year's Eve, you sent me like a video message, and it knocked me back. I'm like, you just said thank you for trusting me to come on and speak at your event and everything. I've never had anyone do that. Where did you learn that from?
A lot of other people. I honestly, I don't know. It was just the How to Win Friends and Influence People book. So again, a lot of people I met from these networking events, I sent a lot of people the videos. Literally,
I knew it wasn't just me.
I was just like, dude, like, be thankful, and just be thankful you have people like that around you. Because I mean, these could be drug dealers and gangbangers that you're friends with, like, and you're not. These are people who are helping you progress. Not only are they helping me progress, they're helping my kids, they're helping my family. Like, so to me, it's like, be thankful for your surroundings. Be thankful for the people who do help you. Right. I mean, so I'm like, and I guarantee also that no one else is sending them a video like this. I guarantee that no one else is just saying thank you. No one else is telling them what they're doing, and because everybody likes that. When people tell me, I enjoy that, because then it's like, oh damn, I'm actually helping somebody. I know.
Yeah, I was thinking that earlier when you were talking. It's like social media. Like, sometimes it feels like it's like me. Look at me. Look what I'm doing, and I hate that, man. And it actually, like, sometimes it makes me not want to do it. But then I'll get texts and stuff like that too. Like, watch this. That's cool. You're killing it, man. Keep grinding, stuff like that. And then, like, it keeps you going, and it does realize you're like. Even if you're not helped, like, we're in real estate, obviously. We
enjoy it, like, keep going, bro. Like, those people kind of ruin it for us, who, like, really or truly just trying to help people. Because then when we see the videos, and, like, you can see right through it. But you're like, do I look like, do people think that that's why I'm doing it? I don't want people to think that I'm only doing this to, like, try to rub it in your face. Like, not at all. Like, this is physically to try to help people. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point behind it.
Yeah, well, because you know what it's like to first start out, and you
Yeah.
know what it's like to be down and out, and try to come up and learn different things. And you're trying to share that with other people.
Yep.
Like you were saying earlier, that's the only way sometimes I feel like that you can keep grow or change or whatever is being exposed to it. And social media gives you that opportunity. You can expose, this stuff to tons and tons of kids and young people just by making one video. So
On social media, if you're going to reach them, it's most likely going to be there.
yeah, I mean, I had my younger brother. He was probably like 15 at the time. Like he's like, I've been watching these TikTok videos of wholesalers and stuff. I'm like, all right, so that's cool that they're at least like watching that type of stuff. But just to jump into real estate a little bit, like specifically. So you mentioned about like the first deal and everything you had and didn't go great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it took some time before you actually started making money, right? What kind of kept you moving along?
So at that, again, I was doing construction at the time. I was still doing concrete. And the whole time I'm still reading, I'm still learning, and I'm at work and I'm telling these dudes the same thing, like, your house isn't an asset. And we're arguing. And, yeah. And then like another thing that Robert Kiyosaki said, and I took it and ran with it. It was, you go to work to learn, you don't go to earn. Yeah, I'm not going to work to make money. I'm here to learn. I took that. And every day I'm on the job site, I'm learning. I might not have been able to finish concrete like some of these dudes, but I'm back here learning. And I've always been like the kind of guy that I could watch you and then go do. I'm a hands-on guy. The whole time I'm watching. And just from talking to, the job supervisor, the owners of the company, I ask questions all the time. How'd you get started? How do you do this? I'm just asking questions all the time. How, why, what, all of that. The whole time I'm always asking no matter what. And I was like, you know what? So I had, I don't know, maybe like $1,000 saved up or something. And I just bought some, I already had the tools and stuff, but I just bought like a big float and, a big broom and some other stuff that I needed, like a concrete saw and stuff, which I got super cheap. I still have it, I think, to this day. But I bought some stuff and I bought a truck. Beater. But I started the concrete company. And dude, my first year I made $600. $600 my first year. I was like, thank God I didn't fully quit my job yet. And then I stopped trying to wholesale. So I didn't wholesale because I got tied up into like getting that. But dude, I ended up like from studying the internet and reading books and stuff like that. I'm crushing marketing my second year. Second year, murdered it. I did really good. And I kind of had that money saved up. So I'm like, all right, I can.
So the concrete business kind of blew up a little bit in your eyes. And were you hiring people and everything?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So towards the end of the year, I couldn't, it was hire and fire like crazy. So then I caught myself like I'm rubbing concrete all the time. Back hurts, like I got a big pour and people aren't showing up. And so it just sucked. So towards the end of the year, I'm like, all right, this is the last job. I'm like, if I can't keep good workers by the end of the season, I'm done. Like I'm going to go back. So I didn't have like a shit ton of money or nothing. I had a couple $1,000 or something. Yeah. Enough to like, I could stop working for 2 months to try to focus on this again. Not enough to actually go buy a property or nothing. Okay. I had a couple bucks. I told you my rent was like $400, $500, $600 or something.
You're just calculating how much you need per month.
Yeah,
exactly.
How much money.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't even know.
So I had enough for maybe 2-3 months or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I could focus on wholesaling again. Well, as I went to go do that, my buddy hit me up with this out of town job, electric. Nothing about electric. But he's like, yeah, dude, it's to wire Chase banks with these energy efficient devices. And we make like, I think it was like $500 or $600 a bank. We go do 2 banks in a night. I'm like, cool. So I'm traveling, dude. I'm up to New Jersey. I'm down to Florida. I'm in New Orleans. We're just going around hitting these banks. And I did that for like 6 months. I made a lot of money, but I blew it because I was just living, But by the time I got home, whenever it ended, I think I had like 10 grand saved up. So I stopped. And I was able to fully focus on wholesaling at that time.
So you knew, like, while you were doing all this in the back of your head, you knew the plan was to jump back into real estate.
Back to wholesaling. Yeah, because again, 10 grand, I'm able to go do a full property.
Right.
So I ended up getting back into wholesaling. I think I got like 1 or 2 deals under contract finally after like 2 months this time. It didn't take me like a whole year this time. After like 2 months, because I actually had some money, I could get some marketing and stuff done. Or buy a list or something. I forget what I did. And I get like 2 properties. And then I seen Stephen Long with Greenwood all the time. He was in wholesaling too, and he was friend of, like, we ended up linking up or whatever, events or something. Because he was like, yo, just come check us out or whatever. So I ended up going over to talk to him. And I get like a deal or 2 under contract. And then we ended up just partnering. He was like, yo, just come over here and we just do acquisitions here. And I ended up just being a beast at acquisitions since I finally, because I took a hold of marketing from the construction, actually, from the concrete, and I just took that into acquisitions and the hustle I had.
Right. So it's the same type of thing. You just applied it to this, and then they had like the systems and everything in place for you there, or no?
He didn't really have. He had like the disposition down packed, but acquisitions was me. I'm spending my own money on acquisitions. That's why I said we just partnered up. All right, how we over get this, we'll split it out. But I would go market. I'd find the properties. I'd go obtain them, get them on a contract. He dispo them, and we just split them. So we did that for a while. We crushed it. And then we ended up having a falling out over his deal. But I'm like, look, dude, it's not even to me, it's always about principle.
Yeah.
It's never about money with me. Ever. It's principle. And he it was a deal of mine that the dude knew it was. It was a big deal, like a 20K assignment fee or something. And dude knew it was gonna be. And we were hiring on other people at this time. It was like, all right, if he locks it up or whatever, we give him 10% of it and whatever. But I still get, my portion because they're my deals. And he knew it was, and he tried to like backdoor me, not tell me like, hey, your deal's closing, and take this money. So I'm like, whatever. I think I was supposed to get like 10K or something.
Which was a lot for you at that point, right?
Yeah. I'm like, whatever. He closed the deal. I ended up going to meet up with him. I'm like, look, just give me, I forget what it was. It was like, give me like 5% or 10% or something. I don't know, whatever. I'm like, and then on the next one, just know there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is how it's going to be. You know what I mean? And he was like, oh, I'll give you 2% or something. I can't remember what it was. It might have been 10 and he said 5 or something. He was like, no, I'll give you. I was like, no, you're not getting. I was like, there's no negotiations. I'm telling you, either give me this or it's a wrap. So I was like, all right, cool. And I just walked out. I left at that point.
You were able to start investing?
Yeah, because towards the end of that anyways, we were in talks. Me and Steve were just.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, why don't we buy more? And we just ended up never doing it. And then, so once we got done, like, forget it. Like, I'm buying some. Kind of buying one, slowly worked on it, sold it. I think I bought it for $5,000, put like 25 in it, sold it for 50. Took that 50, went and bought another one. I still actually own that one to this day. Never worked on it. Sitting in the south side, full of material. It's full of material.
It's your warehouse.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. But I bought that one, sat on it, made some more money, and bought another one that I found from a wholesale list over in Baldwin. Made more money from wholesaling, and I ended up partnering with a good friend of mine, Mitch, on it. So we ended up having like $195,000 into that.
I know Mitch a little bit. He was experienced at that point, so he kind of showed you the ropes.
He was my mentor starting out in real estate, though. He's my mentor from like 15 to probably 25, 26 or something like that. Yeah, I mean, still to this day, he's my mentor. As far as real estate, though, I just kind of surpassed me from continuing just my knowledge and networking and things like that.
Yeah.
But he was my mentor. He got me started. He's different, but he's the one he's the one that recommended the book to me, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I lived with him in the South Side. And that's when so even though I had all this stuff going on and I was going downhill, he's the first person I ever seen like, hey, I want to do this. I'm going to do it. He don't know how to do it, but I watched him literally go buy a laptop, buy like 5 notepads, and just sit on the couch on that laptop and literally fill these notepads out with notes. And then I watched the full thing. It's possible. Like, I literally just watched this dude not have a clue of how to do this and do it. Yeah. Once I read the book and stuff and I started putting stuff, I'm like, okay. It let me know, like, hey, you can do this too. Like, if you can do it, you can definitely do it. Like, what makes you any different from anyone else, So
I feel like that's huge, man. You had that friend early on, which happened to be Mitch, and like they show you, like you watch them do something, and like and then you realize, oh, I can follow that. I've had that countless times in my life, like where I have a friend, like they'll do something first. Like for me, it was like quitting my job. That was a big deal for me.
For sure.
My friend Omar quit his job at AT&T. I quit a week later. I'm like, I'm out. I saw that he can do it and support himself. We're already in real estate, but it's
9% of the reason. How? Like, but he would like make me believe in myself. I was always the guy in the back of the room in the corner, just back against the wall, watching everybody.
Yeah.
He brought me kind of out of that shell and made me, the kind of the person I am today, where I'm still super introverted, but I know when I need to, I can go out and talk.
Yeah, it's a switch. Maybe you learn, it's a muscle or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So when you started investing, like how were you able to grow it from there? And so you were still like, you were doing flips too, right?
Mhm.
So like, what was important to you at that point? Was it like the cash flow at first coming in, or were you like, no, well,
I was just happy to buy like a property.
you're
I was happy to buy a property. Now for me, I still had the street mindset, so I did flips for a little while.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm in the streets. That's when I finally made the decision, like, dude, you don't need the streets anymore. Like, why would you ever go back? And I had a son. I looked at my son and I was like, dude, there's not a day that I would take away from you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would never spend a day away from you. I literally looked him in his eyes. I'm like, no, nothing could take me away from you. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, streets would never get another day of me.
Yeah.
So once I seen him, I'm like, cool. I bought the property. I didn't have a plan in place just to buy more. So I just wanted to buy more and I wanted to make a bunch of money. And I knew I wanted to buy rentals, but I thought at that point, again, I didn't know much about real estate. I thought I had to buy them turnkey. You know what I mean? Or you buy them, you leave your money in there and you just cash flow. And I'm like, I get enough money, so I'm just going to flip until I get $1 million and I'll go buy,
Okay.
Yeah, I swear.
Just trying to make as much cash as you possibly could.
Yep. So I went on a run and I made a lot of money. But then I started seeing a bunch of Instagram posts, and he was talking about multi, and he didn't say syndication. I was wondering like what it was, and I would always hear that. As I started progressing in real estate, more and more videos started becoming, more books I would read. I'd start hearing the word syndication all the time, and different things like that, fund and all this stuff, and I would just go Google and see what it is. Still too big of a word for me. I didn't really fully comprehend exactly what it was.
Syndication and real estate, when you first thought, that sounds like a unicorn, man. Like,
what
is that?
It's crazy. So I would continually see this thing over and over and over again. I would see him post all the time. And at that point, I had to check out one of his events. Like, we went to this Van Burrow one.
Did you own any real estate before that?
Rentals?
Before you went to the Grand Cardone one, you no way. Okay,
First.
I did not know that.
No,
That's crazy. Okay,
so I went down there and I'm like, cool. Started attending events and attending more events and attending more. And then I started spending real money with them. I'm spending 10 grand here, 20 grand here, 25 grand here. I just started. I'm like, cool. And I think I ended up spending like 200 grand or something. And I fully got the gist of it after that though, because I'm like, I got all these underwriting things. I took probably 50 different courses. I just punch it in. I literally would get down in my hole. I got an office in my basement. I would literally go down there. I got flat screens on the wall, and I would just go into town. Bro, if I show you my bookcase, I got a bookcase full of just notepads. Like, no joke, I probably got 1,000, 2,000 notepads full of notes.
Just filled out.
Bro, I could probably sell those. I swear to God, just from, accumulating. But I just go down in my hole, and I would just learn. And I would just hammer at it. Well, COVID started happening, and I didn't really realize. But I'm like, all right, this is what I'm doing. I'm buying multi, and I just cold turkey stopped buying flips, stopped buying anything, stopped. And at that point, I had spent a lot of liquidity, and I racked up some credit cards too. And so I probably spent $200,000. I probably had that 26. Well, I'm paying a good chunk every month, plus my bills. So I just cold turkey stopped flipping, sending offers, and I met mentors and stuff.
And these are big properties, right?
These are big deals.
So you didn't own a single family or a duplex.
These are big deals. Because I met people from the event, again, who were in similar situations previously, got in, met with other people, and they started doing deals. Now, they didn't do it during COVID, and I didn't really know. It took me a while to realize and adjust. So, it is what it is, but I wouldn't take it back. I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, sure.
And I got a chance to underwrite thousands of deals. So now, you throw me a deal out, I'm going to underwrite it. But fully underwrite, that thing takes like 6 hours.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to look into. It's not like a residential property.
For sure. So I just cold turkey stopped, started looking at deals, underwriting them. I probably underwrote like 500 deals, probably sent 20, 30 offers. I'm not getting anything. And it's like 6, 7, 8 months in. And liquidity's every month it's just going down and down and down. Oh shit, I'm getting a little cloudy. I need to start making some money. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So I had to take a step back and I had to reevaluate and then kind of look back at the market, because again I just had that goal. I'm buying a multi. So once I came to realization, get out your hole, dude. No one's selling and no one's buying.
Yeah.
People are still sending offers, because some people would every once in a while get a steal here and there, but it's like slim to none.
Yeah.
And those are people who are in the market who already have those connections. You know what I mean? Like, so, anyways, readjusted around that time. My he was current now, former business partner, had hit me up to learn real estate, properties, things like that. Okay, I'm getting back into wholesaling to make some quick money real quick.
Jump back into residential.
Yeah. No, well, I just wanted to wholesale to make some quick money because I still wanted to buy a multi.
Yeah.
And I still wanted to do it. So I'm like, whatever. And so I got back into wholesaling, and I kind of just built out a whole farm. I had like 4 callers, hanging it out. And he would literally come over every single day. He's the only person I've ever met to do that. So as he was coming over, I'm like, all right, well, he's obviously determined. You know what I mean? Like, I had my brother staying with me for a while. He would always want to learn. And I'd, oh, here, put on the computer. And he didn't want to do it. So now he like tries to learn, like, build, like you, but now I need you to come at me every day. But anyways, so he would come over all the time. And then once he finally started getting the hang of it, and we started making some money, we ended up finding some killer deal. I mean, like, we bought it, wholesaled it to ourselves for like $25K, flipped it, and then made like another 60 or 70 on the back. We made money up front and on the back. Like, we crushed it. Yeah. We found it from one of the wholesale deals we had. So we ended up doing that one, and then it just became a partnership after that.
Did it kind of snowball from there? Like, you started, now you have this money to work with too, right? And you're kind of
Yep. So, but as we're doing that, I'm still mindseted on multi, and the market's starting to change a little bit, things like that. And I'm still sending offers, but now people are just sending reckless ass offers. A couple just came back to market that I'm actually sending offers on now because I knew it was going to. This is like 2 years ago, and they bought them for sure. So like 3 of the ones I put offers on, all 3 just came back to market. So I'm working up offers right now. Yeah, swear. So, I was still sending offers, and then we did that one deal, and it kind of snowballed from there. And as I got back into it, I'm like, I told you I already went on a run. Like, I already bought a ton of them. I'm doing 10 deals at a time. Like, I'm crushing them. So we just started doing it again. We started accumulating more. In the mix of the partnership creating was, I know how to find deals. I know how to underwrite the deals. I know how to do the construction. And we ended up talking and finding out, like, yo, he had a crazy network. Yeah. I mean, a crazy network.
What do you mean?
People with friends. Like, he grew up in the streets too.
Yeah.
But he was always like a partier. He would go to the club, and he was a pop bottle kind of guy.
Made friends.
He spent tons of money in the club. I'm spending money on dirt bikes and stuff in the streets. He's spending money on bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
But he made so many friends from doing that. And he's a super genuine guy. He's a cool dude. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of people just get attached to him.
Right.
So he ended up we didn't realize, like, I'm like, dude, like, I learned this from the Cardone thing, like how to build investors. And that was so I kind of helped teach him that too. I'm like, look, this is how you attack your network. So we realized, like, he can attack his network and help us get investors so we can build quicker. That's what kind of helped us build up. So we went, bought that property, started using his network to invest so we could buy even more. Because at that point, again,
so you're pulling capital.
Yeah, because I burned a ton of my liquidity with the bills and then previously the education. So we started buying them, and then we started using his network to invest so we could buy more. And then that's what it was. And it was like, all right, well, we can even go do bigger deals. You just focus on raising capital. I'll bang these out. You know what I mean? Like, and it ended up becoming a mix in the partnership. It was like, all right, well, we're still banging these out, but we're not finding any more investors, so we're just kind of capping out. You know what I mean? And I think honestly, we should have structured it in the beginning was, what is your end goal? What is my end goal? So we can see kind of where that aligns. Yeah. So like I said, former partner, because it's not that we broke off because it's like, I just want to go here. He wants to go there. You know what I mean? That's kind of why that happened.
So if I was to ask you, like, if you're looking for a partnership, a key to that or what you learned is to figure out what both of your goals are in the end, because they have to align somewhat or it's not going to work out.
In something that I want to get started again, which is acquisitions. I want to start my acquisitions company back up because that's how you find the best deals. And he came to me with a proposition because he wants to start one. I'm like, all right, then we want to take this thing broader. Then we need to come up with that strategy, because then as we're making money, we need to start sinking money back into this business. Okay. Goals for employees and things like that. There's a different way to structure the whole business out.
So why do you think that's so important to know where you're going? Because you're reinvesting back into it and you want to know you're reinvesting back into it?
Well, no, it's just, you don't get in your car and just fucking drive. You got to know where you're going, right? Like, you just, I'm going to go to Realty Co today. You know what I mean? Like, all right, cool. How do I get there?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I got to go here, and you may hit a detour and you drive around that, but you know where you're going. if you start a business, you don't know where you're going, you waste a lot of time, you waste a lot of money, a bunch of different things. Yeah. You just have to know where you're going so that you can structure it correctly. Because if you want to build it to be, let's say, $1 million company or $100 million company, there's different steps to that. Like you're still going to start it out the same way, but you need to start, okay, well, we're starting to grow. We're getting to a point where we're investing money back in. Well, now I need to hire on this person. Now I need to hire on this person. Because then you need to start kind of building in like ecosystems, you know what I mean? Things like that. You got to start taking your hat off, put on this head, take your hat off, put on this head. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah. You just have to start, building out the formula and all types of different things.
Yeah. So if you're kind of starting out or something, would you recommend getting into a partnership at especially real estate? Like what you do with friends?
100%. Yeah. You just have to have your roles. Everything needs to be laid out on the table up front. Ain't no let's just do it and figure it out. No. What are you in charge of? What am I in charge of? What are you in charge of? Let's write this shit down. And then also what percentage do you get for that? What percentage do you get? Because not all roles are created equal. You know what I mean? If you're just putting up money or you're just finding deals or if you're just none of that is created equal. Certain things, take more work. You know what I mean? For instance, the person running the construction, all right, let's say we buy properties together, right? You just found the property, I'm handling the construction. But I got to drive to those properties every single day.
Every day, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're managing them.
Yeah. I got to go, that's gas money, that's time, and you know what I mean? Right there alone is worth more, just certain things like that. And then not only that, I got to orchestrate orders. I got to plan out the full job, the full scope. I got to make sure things are being on time. I'm working overtime. Most of the time, my day doesn't get done when your day gets done. Most of the time, my day's not done until the end of the day, depending on how many jobs you have going on too. So it's just not all positions are created equal. I should say that. So everything should just be laid out. But I 100% think more people should get into partnerships, especially if they're starting out and capital's limited or something. Put 10 people on one deal. Yeah. Do 10 deals.
So the way you look at it is more so you're able to accomplish a lot more together than anything. Yeah. I think a lot of people are hesitant on partnerships, and I know I do this sometimes. It's I'm in a partnership with my family, my uncle and my aunt, and we do everything together basically. And we butt heads together and we yell at each other and stuff sometimes, but we're able to get over it quick. And I've always been hesitant on partnering with friends and whatnot because I know that could happen. I don't want to break friendships or ruin those bridges or anything. How have you been able to kind of keep that all together?
Yeah, that's because you guys don't have that structure. That's why you guys are probably trying to handle some of the same issues together, or you guys are trying to do some of the same things when it should just be one person doing it. Or right. Or it's hey, all right, well, this is something, let's talk this over and figure out what we need to do with it. Mm-hmm. And if everybody has a different opinion, then it's it is what it is. We need to vote on this. Somebody has to be the one that oversees everything. Someone has to be the leader. Gotcha. Someone has to be. Yeah. Who's the most educated one? Who's the in that field too? Right. Because I might be smarter than you in construction. You might be smarter than me in finance, or whatever it is. But that's your role. So I actually had a lot of family work for me. My dad worked for me. Fired him. I swear to God, we're already on time, but brothers worked for me. Fired them. It is what it is. You're gonna have those arguments, but my partnership with Mitch, it was my first partnership ever, and we did a bunch of deals together. We kind of parted ways because we would butt heads every single day. But me and him, this is when I first learned about partnerships and learning each person needs to have a position. Me and him was so much alike, and we would just go at it. Yeah. You know what I mean? We would just go at it. And we were friends for so long, so it was just
you weren't scared of each other?
Nah, it would get bad. It would get bad. We would be cussing each other out. So now we're gonna do. We already talked about it. We don't have the deals yet or nothing like that. We just talked about we'll do something in the future here. Yeah. Because he's a lot more hands off now. He has some other endeavors that he's doing really good in. But we talked about it, and first thing we talked about was all right, well, we know where we went wrong at. Well, what do we need to do? He's I'm just gonna let you do your thing. You go do your thing. If you need me in what I'm good at, which his vision is pristine. He kind of got me to where I was with picking out colors and design. But his vision is pristine. So he was all right, if I need you to come in, cool, you'll put the look together. we'll do it. You know what I mean? Like,
so that's really like what you're saying is the key to these partnerships. Then is really just knowing what people are good at and what they're supposed to be doing and what you're good at and what you're supposed to be doing. I think that definitely like in the partnerships I'm with my family organically kind of happened.
Yeah.
Like at first we were butting heads and everything like you were saying. Like after a while we realized, oh, you're good at this. I'm good at this. And then now we don't. It doesn't happen ever, and I think it's because of that. But I realized until you just said it, like that's what happened. Like we kind of like were able to work that all out. So
that's good.
So as far as your portfolio in Pittsburgh now, so you are starting to grow the rentals here?
Yeah, a lot. So the funny thing is, until I think it was last year, I didn't have any rentals until last year. I started buying them. I forget. I gotta buy them because again, all one was multi-tenant, one was single families. I got
bored you after looking at the syndications.
Yeah, but I'm like, man, I gotta start buying something. I gotta buy rentals. So now I got a plan. That I now have the education I have to know. I had a plan, like what I want to do, where I want to go, things like that. I'm like, I have to start buying rentals. I'm not locking in a multi. I don't know what's going on, but I need to just lock in what I can lock in right now. Start building cash flow, get this thing up, cover my expenses, so in case I run into another COVID situation or any other situation, at least bills are covered. So I just started accumulating rental, single families, duplexes, things like that, like crazy. Last year, I think we bought like 15 last year or something like that.
Are you burn all of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I bought one triplex turnkey, but that thing's a cash cow. It's a cash cow. I bought that thing turnkey. So I think I'm up to like 26 units or something.
And you just kind of just shifted that. See, I had no idea about that. That's how you did it. Like I thought you have been buying rentals. So yeah, that's interesting.
And I was still flipping too at the time too.
Yeah.
I would have bought.
You're still flipping now, right?
No,
oh, okay.
I stopped.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I would have bought more last year, but then flipped a bunch too. So, but just recently in the last month, I think I bought another 5 or 6 units, and I have another 5 I'm about to buy. And then there's another 5 in the pipeline we're working on, we're negotiating with. So,
direct to seller?
Yeah, direct to seller.
Okay.
And they just started happening. I was buying from wholesalers last year and the year before because I didn't have time to go find deals anymore.
Yeah.
That was the first time in my entire, 10 years or something now, career that I've ever bought from anybody else other than finding my own deals was the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's just organically coming back.
Right.
So these next 15 are all direct to seller.
Yeah. Are they calling you or are you calling them?
I'm calling them.
Okay, so you're back.
I'm just a dog right now. Yeah, I told you them last 3 or 4 deals or whatever. I ended up having I had like a month of like nothing going on. Yeah. And it just like I'm not attack mode. And like I said, it was more so from splitting the partnership up. It was like, okay, well, I need to readjust everything. I need to resituate myself, resituate my guys, my capital, things like that. I got to put everything in order and I got to restructure it so that it's just me now. And so I took the whole month and I'm just like, man. And then now I'm just like attacking like crazy. Yeah. I'm like attack dog right now. I don't know what it is. And I'm just like, I know where I need to get, and I'm like, just go. You're going. Because I have the clear vision again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, you got to know what you want. I think that's important, and I think a lot of people miss that. And I struggle with it sometimes. It's like, you got to know where you're going. You got to know something out there. Like, I had this conversation with my little brother the other day. I'm like, he doesn't want to set goals and stuff. He's young, he's 15. He's 15. So I give him a break. But I'm like, you got to set goals, or you're going to be just going, you're going to be aimless. You're not going to be moving in any direction. Like, you need some type of aim, and maybe it changes, and maybe you pivot at some point. But you got to have aim, or you're going to end up somewhere you don't want to be.
Yep,
that's kind of my outlook.
Yeah, you got to have the thing too, though, is like him at his age. This is the best time to instill it in him because by the time he gets to our age, he already has it.
Right. Yeah. He wants to play college basketball. He wants to play college basketball.
So he has a dream.
So
let him live his dream. He's still young.
I'm like, well, what I did, they told me that I got home that night, and I called him like, hey, I got somebody for you. I know a guy. He coached college basketball for 8 years. He runs a not private, more like group type workouts. I'm like, I'll get him online. I'll get you set up. He's like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And I'm like, why?
You really want to play ball then?
Yeah, that's kind of. So yeah, that's why I got to keep pushing him.
What's deep down? What do you really want to do?
Right.
And just hiding because you want to play games or something.
No, that's probably it. Yeah. All right, I got one last question for you, and then I'll hit you up. I'll let you go. I'll hit you with 5 quick ones, but one last question on real estate investing. How are you investing now, or focused on with the state of the world, right? Because we're getting back into that fear mongering type 100%. In the news, and people are getting scared. They're probably being tight with their wallets right now. What are you kind of doing right now, or shifting with your investing? Yeah, so like I said, I just had those 4 flips, and I lost a lot of money on them. But that to again realize what's going on. But obviously before that, they weren't selling, so
I had to kind of start focusing on readjusting, and I had talked to some of my mentors. One of them is actually the guy you work for. Talked to him.
Mr. Schlava.
Yeah. Talked to him. Talked to some other people. And again, I'm a good friend. I'm gonna call him mentor. He's in a better position than I am, and he's kind of where I want to go. So again, mentor. But talked to him. Talked to a couple other people, and just about the market. Like, what's going on? What are you seeing? What are you doing? And we kind of came up with the same answers, based on some research we've done and people we know and things like that. And my adjustment is rentals, because I'll never go wrong with those. Everybody needs a place to live, like you said. Bullets are getting tight. People aren't really buying houses. If they're buying houses, they're in that certain price point, because people do still need a place to live. People do still need to buy houses. And not everybody's in a messed up situation. Flipping's just not for me right now. If I'm going to flip, it's going to be a development. And if I develop, it's going to be an affordable development. So right now, two main things that I'm doing is burn rentals. Like I said, I got 15 that just locked up, or 5 that I bought, and another 10. And then development, affordable development. So right now I have a pretty big affordable development plan that is in the works. We're working on the final stages of it right now, locking in some subsidies. So we have a couple meetings set up with that, big meetings. If those go through, it'd be nice. So that's the kind of the other step.
We're gonna have to have a whole other podcast.
Yeah, especially if it goes through, I'll break down the whole thing, because it's like it's not something you really ever see from a lot of people.
You know, I didn't like the big real estate network in Pittsburgh. You're not gonna hear much about that. But
yeah, the rentals and developments.
Okay, staying away from flips.
Yeah, you gotta go to where it's secure at. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta go to where it's secure at. There's too much risk in flips if the market's like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Housing supply is at like an all-time high. That alone should tell you, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, that alone should tell you. Now, if you already have one you bought, it's a whole other ballgame. Let's get this thing going. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I think what I've been telling clients that are in the middle of a flip, especially, is like, we want to be very reasonable on how we're pricing it. You know what I mean? Because if you price it too high, like that high ARV you were trying to hit before, you're at a super big risk of it sitting, and then you're going to price, and it's going to take up more months of interest. So I'm just telling them, like, we got to price it reasonably to make sure it gets sold.
Yeah, definitely build in some extra reserve for sure for holding costs and stuff like that. If you're going to flip, though, the only time I would flip right now is if you get me a property in an area that has a great school district and limited supply. Anywhere in Baldwin, I would still buy.
The nice South Hills area.
Yeah, right, North Hills. I would still buy those, just because in any market, that house is going to sell, because it's too much demand and there's no supply at all. You know, you might get one house a month or every other month that may come up for sale. And so if you can get something in those neighborhoods, those are no-brainers. You can't do that at scale. For me, for flipping to make sense, I need to do it at scale. If I can't do it at scale, it doesn't make any sense for me.
Right.
And then, like, what am I making, $40,000 a year? Go get a job at McDonald's anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing all this work for $40,000 a year.
Right.
So you have to do it at scale, and for me, that doesn't make any sense. You can go find better deals on rentals right now and burr them. You can still get cash flow. You can actually still make money on the burr. You know what I mean? Like, I can still profit. I just profited $15,000 on one of my last burrs. You know what I mean? So I got it. I'm making.
You gotta get it.
Yeah, I got my money back. I got my money back. I'm making $600 a month off of it, cash flow net. This is with reserve and everything put to the side. Still making $600 net, and I got like $15,000 cash, and it's debt, so I'm not paying taxes on it. So you can still get that from a burr.
And it's not as risky as these flips are.
I still got equity built in, and then appreciation, because now the market's technically at a downturn, right? So when the market goes back up, it's going to have more equity.
Yeah.
You know, so I just feel like you have to go to the things that are a little bit more secure.
Understood. Yeah. With somewhat of a safe approach to it.
A little bit more,
But you have to.
You still have the risk of rent and things like that. Well, the way I kind of go about that is, like, everyone needs a place to live. Rent is going to keep going up. That's what got me into the affordability thing.
Yeah.
Affordability is going to be a massive. It already is, but it's just going to be even bigger in the next couple of years. So, stay tuned for affordability.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'll hit you with these last 5 questions more quick. You know what I mean? All right. So, what do you feel drives you now versus what drove you back then when you were a kid, or maybe even early 20s? What wakes you up in the morning?
My kids wake me up because I got to take my daughter to school Monday to Friday. So, I swear, I get up, get her ready, take her to school, I drop her off, and I get my day started. But that right there tells me, like, all right, you have something to get up for, you have something to do. You have. So even if I'm, like, in the worst down pit of my life, like, I'm just miserable.
Which
You
happened.
got to take your daughter to school, take her to school, get her up. You know what I mean? You have somebody else's life in your hands. That gets me going.
You have people relying on you now, which changes the game.
Before, right? It was like I knew I wanted to do it for my kids, but I didn't have them yet. Now I have them. It's like, all right, well, come on, dude, speed it up. Let's go.
That's enough motivation. Yeah. You don't need anything more than that. 100%. All right. Pain and hardships. Do you think that was necessary for like your success?
I want to learn a lot of this stuff. A lot of the stuff I know and like tips and tricks and things like that, and talking to certain people, I learned it from the streets. It's weird. Not everybody in the streets is bad. You know, like I honestly think some of the biggest drug dealers are like the best businessmen. You know what I mean? So, again, they didn't know. They just took it the wrong way, and they're stuck in it. Like, once you get so deep, like you can get, there's a such thing as getting too deep in the streets. You know what I mean? Like you get too deep where you have to like buy your way out. It's a real thing. So I wouldn't take it back though. I learned a lot.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that, and I heard something before too. It's like where you're at, like you think about where you want to go and where you're getting to, and where you're at like currently right now, and it's like you're so happy to be in that moment. You have your kids and everything. You wouldn't change anything about your past because it brought you to where you're at right now.
I teach my kids and everything.
Yeah. If you could go back to the version of yourself that was sleeping on that kitchen table, what would you say?
I don't know, because I'm going to be honest, I think I took that very well. I think I took the table very, like I couldn't have taken it any better. Because that literally got me here. And I couldn't tell them to be more focused because I was nothing but focused. Like I didn't care women, I didn't care. I was just grinding, you know what I mean? So, I don't know what I would say. At the table, I wouldn't say nothing. I don't know if I would say, I probably wouldn't say nothing at the table, but before I got to the table, I would just tell myself to focus.
Yeah.
Like, focus, like reevaluate. Reevaluated a couple years before, or even a year before.
Like when you say reevaluate, like where am I at? Where am I at? What am I doing?
Yes, like why am I here? Like I have money. What are you doing? Why did you do this? I was just living.
I think, for me, for sure, like 25 and before, 26 and before, I swear it was like I was on some other planet. And it really felt like I wasn't even aware of what was going on.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was just active. I was just doing things. I was just living in the moment. I was just being an idiot.
All right, last one. What is one thing that you would teach your kids or are teaching your kids that you can, if you're leaving, like you're leaving the earth, what are you leaving them with?
I left my kids a playbook.
Yeah,
I swear to God. I don't know what made me think about it. I think I was talking to Mitch, and we were talking, and we were like, dude, like if we're the only ones to do this out of each of our families. We're like, if we died tomorrow, they would get all this money, and they would get all these properties. They wouldn't know what to do with it. None of them. My girl, her kids, her parents, my brothers, her brothers. None of them. Nobody would know what to do with it. It'd all be gone in probably less than a year. To be honest, like it'd all probably be sold off, and then in a couple years from now, the money would just go. We were like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I got to create a step-by-step playbook that explains each and every single thing that I do, how I do it, why I do it, who are my partners, and when I say partners, I mean like my attorney, my lenders, my brokers. Every single person is in there. Every single bank account's in there. Every single password to everything I have is in there. Every single detail started. I mean, it took me a while to do. I had ChatGPT.
I was just thinking, this is crazy, massive.
But my attorney, my attorney, who holds my will in the safe, I was like, hey, dude, I need you to put this with my will. And he got it. He was like, holy shit. He was like, dude, wow, I didn't think this was what you were sending me. I'm like, yeah. So like, and I'm going to change it, and I'm going to keep up on it every once in a while, add more properties and add more accounts and things and such. But,
so this is more like business playbook, like how to keep everything going.
Yes, okay. Keep it going, and like keep it going. How's it managing now? Who should be doing what, and how to, if you want to grow it, how you can grow it.
Man, that is so cool. I've never heard that before.
The biggest thing I did for them. So if I was to die, that's it. But the next thing is like every day, like I said, I just every day take them to the properties and like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it, and I just try to step by step teach them that. But if I was to die on the way home, they have the playbook to kind of try to teach them the rest.
Yeah.
If they're old, whenever they get older and they want to figure it out, they can.
Yeah.
And who some of my mentors are, who like I know, they can actually go and would take care of them.
Yeah, because you created those relationships and everything.
Yeah, so they would show them the right way.
Awesome. All right, well, let's wrap it up. What's the best way to get a hold of you, contact you, if somebody want to reach out for advice, mentorship, whatever?
Probably Instagram. Don't hit me up on Facebook Messenger. I hate that thing.
Instagram. It's
underscore Bradley Jacobs or something like that.
Yeah. I'll tag it on Instagram's your route.
Instagram's my route.
True. All right, man. Thanks, brother. That was good. That's long though, right?
I like it. No, that was cool.